So as you can see here, we'll try to learn the formulas, okay, the way we have learned the formulas for present indefinite, that is simple present and present continuous tense. In the same manner, we'll try to understand the formula, or rather the formulas for present perfect tense, so you can get your copies ready. So remember one thing, that we are changing from active to passive voice, as I have already told you, okay. We are changing sentences from active to passive voice, okay. We are not changing from passive to active. For passive to active, uh, it will be altogether a different approach, but here, since we are changing from active to passive voice, so the rules will be set accordingly, or rather the formulas will be set accordingly. Some of the rules are all same, some of the rules do not change, but the formulas, okay, the formulas that I gave you, the formulas will change here, okay, to a certain extent. Not the whole formula, but to a certain extent, some of the parts in the formulas will change. And you also have to remember another thing, which is that in present perfect tense, yesterday I already told you that we do not have present perfect continuous tense in active and passive voice, okay. We do not have present perfect continuous tense in active and passive voice. We only have indefinite, continuous and perfect tense, okay. We do not have perfect continuous tense, so we do not have perfect continuous tense in voice change, okay. So we do not have continuous tense in voice change, okay. You have to remember these two things. We do not have continuous change in perfect continuous tense in voice change, okay. Perfect continuous tense, that means we will not use been. We will use been, but then there is no separate exercise on been, okay. Anyways, I won't explain you much on this, because when I'll give you the formula, you'll be able to understand automatically, okay. So remember this thing only, we do not have perfect continuous tense in voice change. We straight away go to the formulas, okay. We straight away go to the formulas. All right. So number one, as we all know, object comes in the beginning. Here also object will always come in the beginning, because we are changing sentences from active to passive voice. So object plus has or have, because we are doing present perfect tense, and as I have already done an exercise on tense with all of you, so you already know that present perfect tense has uses either has or have, okay. Then we have a been, you can write third verb plus by plus subject, full stop, okay. So this is the first rule, object plus has or have, okay, either has or have, then been, then third form of the verb, then by, then subject. I have already explained you the uses of has and have also, okay. So I am not going to repeat it here, okay. Then number two, Okay, the second sentence is an interrogative sentence. Okay, even in simple present tense also, we had seen that the first sentence is an assertive, the first formula is an assertive, is for assertive sentences, and from the second till the fifth formula all are interrogative. So in the same manner it will just move on in the same manner. The third one will be starting with interrogative word. Interrogative word. Okay, now this sentence is also quite this sentence is also quite obvious. I had explained you in the previous video also that you have, because we have already used by here, so we cannot repeat by again. So instead of repeating by, what we do is that we have options of these prepositions. Okay, we can use any one preposition provided the fact that we have a subject. If there is no subject, then we will stop right after the verb. Okay, we will stop right here. Okay, but if there is a subject, then you have to continue with prepositions, anyone. Okay, out of these four prepositions you have to appropriately put one preposition and then subject. Generally we have by plus subject, but by you have already put here. Okay, then the final option is in the same manner whom. If there is whom, we begin with who. Bean will come this side. Okay, there's a typing mistake. Plus by plus you. So these are the 5 rules that you have right now. Okay, so these are the 5 rules that you all have here. Okay, the 5 formulas that you have here. I'll just make it bold so that, okay, the first sentence is only one which ends with a full stop, and the rest of the sentences are all interrogative sentences. Okay, are all interrogative sentences. Let us continue with some examples. Okay, so let us continue with some examples. We will go, and as we generally do, we will go according to the formula. So the first formula, okay, the first formula, I'll set the example according to the first formula. The Taylor, okay, I'm writing here active to passive, active to passive. Okay, the Taylor has stitched, has not stitched, has not stitched, has not stitched my shirt. Okay, so if I have to write if I have to now write, what will I do is that I will bring the object in the beginning according to rule number 1, according to formula number 1. I will bring the object in the beginning. So the tailor is the subject here, my shirt is the object here, right? So my shirt will come in the beginning, my shirt. Okay, my shirt, and then what we'll do is that either has or have. So object has been used already, my shirt is object. Now we will put either has or have. Okay, so either has or have. So my shirt has. Okay, now why has? I told you, you go back to tense and understand from there. Okay, I will not repeat, it will take a long time otherwise. Okay, so my shirt has not and then been. Always remember one thing, that not comes before been. Okay, so here in the formula I have not put any option for not. Okay, I have not put any option for the word not. Okay, you have to understand that not comes before been. So I am, because there is not in the sentence, so I am putting not before been. Okay, so not been, my shirt has not been stitched. Okay, verb third form, after been we have third verb third form, so verb third form becomes stitched. Okay, now one very interesting thing about present perfect tense is that, or rather any perfect tense, okay, one very remarkable thing about perfect tense is that the verb is already in the third form. So you need not change the verb, it's already in third form. Okay, as we move on with some more examples, you'll see that all the verbs are already in third form, so you need not change. Just look at the verb and place it. Okay, the verb is already in the third form, because whenever there is has or have, then the verb that is used is always in the third form. So stitched becomes stitched only, and after third verb we have by, so we will put by, and then by plus subject. Which is the subject here? Subject is the tailor. So my shirt has not been stitched by the tailor. Okay, we move on to example number 2 with formula number 2. Have you read this story? Okay, have you read this story? Here in this example, you is the subject, this story is the object. Okay, so if you have to bring object in the beginning, remember in formula number 2 we have to begin the sentence with has or have, and which one will you use? Okay, that depends on the object. So you have to note the object first. So if the object is this story, then according to that only you will have to put has or have. Okay, that depends on the object. Okay, so here this story, it is a name, so has, and then object has this story, so we have put has, and then why has? Because that depended on the object that we have brought here. Okay, so has this story, then we put been. Okay, and then verb third form, rule number 2, formula number 2, verb third form. I already told you that the verb is already in the third form, so you need not change it, you'll simply put it the way it is. Has this story been read, and then by, then subject is you. Has this story been read by you, and then you put a question mark. Okay, and then you put a question mark. See, it is not very difficult. I'll tell you what, it is not very difficult. First of all, you need to have a very clear understanding. You need to have a very clear understanding of what? A very clear understanding of the formulas. Okay, this is a very detailed formula that you have. Okay, now according to certain sentences, there can be some changes in the formulas, and I will tell you where. Okay, but from rule number 1 to 4 you don't have changes, it will be exactly the same. However, in rule number 5 there may be certain changes in these areas. Okay, say for example in rule number 5 I have put object and then been. Sometimes it may happen that there is no object, so directly you are putting been. Okay, anyways, we'll hurry. So has this story been read by you, and then we move on to the next formula, the example for the next formula. How have you solved this difficult sum? And we already know that if any sentence begins with an interrogative word which is how, then you have to begin your answer in the passive voice with that interrogative word only. So we will use how, and then from has or have you have to use any one, either has or have, and that depends on the object. So object here is this difficult sum. Okay, so how has object this difficult sum, and then you have been. After object you have been, so I'm putting been. How has this difficult sum been, and then verb third form. Verb third form I already told you, solved, solved, and then by plus subject here is you, because you is doing the action of solving the sum. Okay, how has this difficult sum been solved by you, and then a question mark. Don't forget to end your sentence with question mark. Okay, so go according to the formula. Then rule number 4. Yesterday I gave you a sentence, who is knocking at the door, or maybe in the previous class I had given you one example, who is knocking at the door. What you can do is that I'll give you the same sentence but in present perfect tense. Who has knocked at the door. So it's not knocked at the door. So we know that if there is who, then we will put by whom. By whom. And according to the formula, your by whom has, because we will be bringing the object here. So by whom has the door, and then we have by whom has the door been. Then verb third form, knocked, by whom has the door been knocked. Now I told you yesterday that when there is a preposition after the verb, there is a preposition here after the verb. So preposition cannot be deleted. Preposition cannot be deleted. So we will put the preposition after the verb and then put a question mark. So by whom has the door been knocked at? Number 5. So in this case it will be whom, because there is whom, we begin with who. Who has been, okay, we don't have an object, we don't have a direct object here, okay, we don't have a direct object here, who has been. So what we will do is that if there is no direct object, then from has have, so from has we directly jump onto been, okay. So who has been met, we jump on to been, and after been there is verb third form. So after been there is verb third form, met, okay, who has been met. And then this is supposed to be an extra word, indirect object. It is not a direct object. Direct object is always a noun, okay. And all the sentences that we have done, we had direct objects for all the sentences above, but here in this case there is not an example of direct object, okay. Though I may say object, but object has got two different things, direct and indirect, and direct object always takes or is always noun, okay. So there cannot be noun, there is not noun, okay. So who has been met, so indirect object we know, there is indirect object, there equal to indirect object, okay. So we know that indirect object has always to be put after the verb. So who has been met there, and then by, and then subject, you, question mark. So this is all, okay. So that's all. I hope all of you have understood, okay. So this is all for today. You can practice some exercises from your grammar books following these formulas, okay. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you so much. Please subscribe, like and share the video. Thank you so much.